Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to one of our next upcoming projects here at the lighter side of RC. We have in this box, if you didn't look at the title, well, I'm going to tell you, we have in this box a Hangar 339, which is a fairly new kit that they just came out with, and we have a customer that we're building one for. So let's open up this box and see what this plane is all about. All right, so we won't be starting this, this aircraft build for a little while. We have some parts to gather up. So we are going to be putting a Swewin 80 Newton engine in this aircraft. And we've got some servos to order and things like that. So there's a little bit of stuff to get organized before we actually start on this one, but it won't be taking too long for this one to go together. So this is a very new kit. I think people started flying this in 2023 is when it started to really be more normal. Now, of course, this is a box inside of a box. So that is fairly normal for this kind of kit. There we go. So we've got a top and a bottom, and there is the label right there. So it's the ARF, the Hangar 339, and there's the aircraft. So hopefully this box just opens up. That would be nice. Yes. Now, I have been quite interested to see this aircraft because there's been lots of hype about it. And of course, Ali Machinchi and all the Horizon Hobby guys are apparently loving this thing. So now I'm going to try and keep the box intact as much as possible because we may be reusing it to ship it to the customer. So we'll see. And the box arrived here safe and sound, I believe, without any damage, so at least that I could see. Okay, so everything fits in here very nicely. Looks like it's fairly well packaged. Of course, we could have had a little bit more stuff, packing material fit in, but I don't think there's any. Oh yeah, everything's nicely tightly bound, so that's cool. So we'll just pull all these pieces out one by one, and then we'll take a little bit of time unwrapping them. So we've got our accessory pack there. I'm just gonna cut some of this tape. We've got our manual, which is nice to see. I'm sure the Horizon Hobby manual is gonna be well put together. We have the stickers, decals, decals for the aircraft. Okay, this looks like probably the, oh yeah, this is the rudder, a vertical stab. So this kit is all built up wood, and it looks like it's covered. Okay, so we've got our horizontal stabs or elevators, nice aluminum mounting points, I think. Those look pretty slick. So same thing there. We've got our wings here. Now this is a great plane, the 339, just the inherent design of the actual aircraft itself. Huge wing area. It is a trainer in real life, like the full-scale one's a trainer. So then we have one of the wings. We have our wing tubes, which are carbon wing tubes. Nice hollow carbon wing tubes, quite light. And good size wing tubes. All right, this, I'm not sure what that is. Those are our intakes is what they are. And underneath here should be our fuselage. We got tip tanks, a bunch of things in there, which is good. Ventral fins, fuel tank. I'm assuming our gear and some accessories are underneath there. So that looks good. Let's pull the rest of these items out of the box and then we will start unwrapping them. So everything has been quite well put together in there. We've got boxes glued down, tape holding everything together. Everything's taped in place. So really the only way for this to get destroyed in shipping is if the box got poked or crushed. So, all right, so we've reorganized things here a little bit. Let's pull out these items one by one. We'll take a good look at them, and we'll go through the entire aircraft. So we'll start off with our horizontal stabs, just because that's the first thing we grabbed. And initially when I look at these things, I haven't taken a close look at them yet, but quite impressed with the layup of them. Okay, so it's all wood construction. It is covered because there's some hollow areas here. So if you're not familiar with this, it's going to be balsa construction, a lot like an aerobatic plane. Some of the cool things, I'll come up close to you guys. So we've got some carbon in the layup here on the root of the stab, and also this piece right there is aluminum. So that's kind of nice to see. So that's going to be the keeper, I'm assuming. This will slide into the fuselage, and then there should be a fixing bolt that kind of clamps this together, or a clamp or something. But good construction, looks good. We've got pin hinges on the surface itself, and those are not hinged or not completed at this point, so that obviously needs to be done. But it looks like everything is ready to go for you. So those need to be glued in place. Looks like the servos are set up for I think a mini servo. I don't think a standard's gonna fit in there. So other elevator, horizontal stab, looks good. All right, so we'll pop open the vertical stab here, the rudder. Take a look at that. Okay, so much the same as the elevators, wood construction, covering. We've got 4 pin hinges. Now the servo mount, I think, is going to work in the cover right there. There's a removable cover, and otherwise everything looks good with that. Okay, so tank, we're not going to pop the tank out, but the tank is a poly tank. Capacity, I don't know, but it's probably going to say in the manual. Just a rough guess, that looks like maybe a 2.5 kind of liter tank. Now the plate here is aluminum, and it looks like there's aluminum thumb screws to fix the plate down, and definitely okay looking hardware. Looks like an aluminum cap as well, which is nice. There's a felt pickup in there, so good looking tank setup. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what all this hardware is for, but we can make some good guesses here. So, okay, so we've got aluminum plate. There is some instructions in there. It looks like this bolts to the fuselage or something, so I'm not sure what that's for. We've got some washers there. That's probably for wing fixing stuff or surface fixing stuff because of the color, the green color. Looks like we've got linkages here. They look like they're 440 rod linkages. This looks like possibly a fuel dot or a vent. This is probably a vent line, is what I'm guessing. Yes, that's going to be a vent line because it's just wide open. That would make sense. Okay, so we've got all of our control surfaces here. So that's our mounting points. We've got all of our hardware in there. Same thing here, here. We've got some various bolt kits throughout. And these are the wing fixing thumb screws. So very nice. Good looking hardware pack. Nothing super cheesy or anything there. Apparently this stuff's all working good from what people have said online. And looks like good quality ball joints with aluminum balls. So as we get into the build, we'll take a look at that stuff, and if we want to change anything, we will change it. Okay, ventral fins, we'll just leave those in place. They just look like they screw on to the bottom of the fuselage. Let's open up these guys. Controller boxes and stuff. All right, so the controller here looks like it is for the landing gear. Yes. So that's the landing gear controller. Looks like there's gear doors, retracts, brakes. Brakes are adjustable. So decent looking controller. So this stuff I'm curious about because we've got this plane, its competitor is probably something like the Boomerang Ranger, I would guess. So anyways, yeah, the Boomerang Ranger is probably the competitor to this, and it's always interesting to build. I've built a few Rangers now, and it's curious to see what something like this competes with and how it competes. So. Ooh, lots of movement on that front gear. Feels good. The tire is solid. We've got bearings on the wheels, which is nice. And of course, the retracts themselves are electric, which is cool. Now there's a couple things going on here that is different / funky. Just looking at the wire here, so we've got our positive and negative wire. It looks like we've got the motor grounded, I think is what that would be. And we've got some sort of chip device here. We've got little ferrite rings, so quite a bit more thought put into this, at least externally visible. And then of course our servo mount there as well. So good looking retract. As long as it works, that's really what matters. Yes, those are the mains. Oh no, there's tires already on there. So they include an extra set of tires. That's cool. These are the size, obviously. So it looks like everything is 65 millimeters all the way around. All right, so let's open up the main gear here and take a look. I'm expecting them to be very similar to the fronts. Should be matches to the fronts. So we won't pull the wrapping off here, but yes, it looks like everything is the same. We've got electric brakes. Things are a little bit tight there, so we got to take that apart and look at it like normal, but looks good. Gear is fine for a budget plane. You can see it's made with one piece of aluminum that's bent. Looks stout enough though for this size plane. The spring is quite stiff. So anyways, there is the main landing gear. Okay, so manual, looks like it comes with a decent manual, which is pretty typical for any Horizon hobby stuff. That is nice to see. So if you're a beginner and you're putting one of these together, their manuals generally are decent manuals with good step-by-step instructions. So that looks good. One of the important things is the required equipment. So that's all listed in here. It's also listed on the box as well. Okay, so let's pop open one of these wings next and take a look. All right, so there is our wing. Now I tell you, I'm a sucker for orange and white, and the blue is really nice. So the color scheme on this is actually pretty nice. I'm a real fan of the orange. Well, let's take a closer look at these wings. Okay, so a couple finer details on the wings here. Obviously, we've got to finish hinging everything. The flap hinges are quite unique. You can see here that they are a unique design. And one of the cool things about the way that that flap is hinged is it ends up being a scale type setup, which is very nice to see. We've got our gear cutout that we still need to do. We've got our flap and aileron servo pockets. Let's pop those guys open just to see what they look like. There we go. That's kind of what I want to see. So we've got a nice, looks like carbon mounting surface there, well, carbon and wood. I'm not sure if it's internally hinged. I would guess it probably is internal hinges on the flap, and it's external on the aileron. I can see the little pockets there. So that's nice to see. Looks like good quality stuff. And then the root of our wing here is, we've got a carbon ply mix. And it looks like they've used some more carbon ply pieces inside the wing for the gear mounts and everything. So that looks like decent quality stuff for sure. All right, so let's take a look at the rear part of the fuselage here first, and then we'll get into the remaining items. Okay, so we've got the fuselage unpacked. Now this is definitely interesting. So unlike some of the competition planes or competitors' planes in this kind of entry-level price point, the Hangar 9 339 is a little bit different. So this is all wood construction, and it's all covered still on the fuselage. So that definitely helps with the keeping the price point down. But they've put this nice kind of faux carbon finish everywhere. So it's unique. It helps to finish it off for sure, because otherwise you just see bare balsa. So it's kind of a nice feature, but yeah, just something to think about if you're looking for your first turbine aircraft. This one is all covered everywhere, including the fuselage. Some of the other planes that are similar to this, you have fiberglass fuselage with built up or wood construction on all the surfaces. So just some different options for you. But we've got a nice big hatch cover. So there's nothing else inside the fuselage. No pipe or anything like that. We've got a bottom access hatch here, which I'm assuming is for the turbine's there. So I'm not really sure what this is for, but yeah, anyways. I do really like all the carbon wood work everywhere. So a lot of the wood, it seems like everything on the fuselage is all carbon fiber with laminated with wood. So very, very nice. I'll bring you guys in close here and we'll take a look at all the details of the fuselage. So you can see there, definitely nicely built. Looks good. This is what I was talking about with the carbon wood construction. We've got some heat shield areas here already pre-installed, which is also nice. So running your servo lines back here is going to be quite easy. And that looks at first glance like it comes all the way back to the rear part of the fuselage. So really nice looking. Yeah, you can see here, there's the heat shield material right there, which is awesome. We've got strings installed already, so running our lines back there is going to be nice and easy. And there's a shot around the front of the aircraft. Nice structure in there. The carbon laminated wood makes it quite a bit stiffer as well. So when you take these thin areas and give it a bit of a push, they are quite stiff for how thin they really are. So there's a shot of the underside for you. Okay, so we'll set the rear part of the fuselage aside and we'll come back and take a look at the front part of the fuselage. When we get to the end of the video, we will be assembling the entire plane just so we could see it in person, see it all together. And let's grab the front part of the fuselage. All right, so front part of the fuselage here looks good. I'd like to see that the pilots are already installed, the canopy's already installed. That's very nice. All right, there we go. So we've got, yeah, the cockpit's all done, which is really nice to see. Pilots are already installed, that stuff's all done. Actually a decent looking cockpit as well. So I'll try and capture this for you guys, but nice instrument panel. The bezels around the instruments look really nice. There's a close-up of the pilots. So decent looking, definitely nice. Nice to see on a plane like this, already installed. That's pretty slick. And then there's a shot of the underside structure. So again, well thought out. Lots of nice carbon laminated plywood, and looks really good. All right, so the structure inside the fuselage, very similar to the back. Again, we've got carbon laminated plywood everywhere, which is nice to see. And a nice layout here on the inside. So we've got nice gear mounts. They're reinforced with a right angle piece of aluminum. And we've got a nice opening for the nose gear door. So that is wonderful. Okay, so those are definitely fiberglass. Nice. Yeah, so fiberglass, the fasteners, the parts right here, I'm actually just going to stick those on there. So they screw right into the tips of the wing, and it looks like all of that stuff is already lined up for you. And then this is marked as well too. It says 339L, so that's going to be the left tip, and then of course this is going to be marked as the right. So nice to see that. And I think this last part should be our pipe, because there's nothing else that looks like it's big enough to hold the pipe. Okay, so that looks good. Cute little pipe. Not used to seeing them that small. With so many of our builds being massive, it's odd having such a small little pipe. Okay, so we've got some sort of mounting materials here. I don't know what they're for offhand because they're a little bit odd. This might be a heat shield that goes underneath the back of the, sorry, probably loud. This might be a heat shield that goes underneath the back of the fuselage. I think that's probably what it is. Now, just thinking out loud here, one of the downsides to a plane like this, where it's split, is that it's not really conducive to putting this aircraft back in the original box to ship it, because you would have to have so many connections at the fuselage joint there, and it's not really something that you're going to be taking apart on a regular basis. So we will probably end up packaging this, unless the customer comes and picks it up, we'll probably end up packaging this in a full-length box with the rear and the front joined together is my thoughts. So, okay, nice looking pipe. Definitely suited for a, I think they call this a 45 to a 70 Newton airframe, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I think. Anyway, so good looking pipe. Everything's bolted in place. We got a nice little bell mouth there. Mounting brackets are all nicely done. So very nice quality, actually. The thickness of the pipe, it is definitely stout. I'm just going by the feel test. It's definitely stout for this size of turbine. That's great to see. We've got a nice design there as well. So they've allowed a little bit of expansion and contraction, which is nice to see. So the little wavy pieces that separate the outer layer from the inner layer, we've got one at the front and one at the back of the pipe. So the one at the back of the pipe is welded to both pipes. So it's tacked in place, but you do have a fair bit of movement there. And then at the front here, there's these little tabs that go about an inch in front of the little wavy thing, and that allows some expansion and contraction in the entire system. So what happens is the inner pipe heats up, it expands, and the outer pipe is cool. So if you've got this firmly attached to the inner pipe, it can cause issues. So nice to see. So as I'm putting this airframe together here, just for some last pictures, I'll show you some interesting things if I run across anything, and this is one of those. We've got 4 carbon tubes that join the back and front part of the fuselage, along with our 5 bolts. That's really nice. All right, guys, well, that is the unboxing of the Hangar 9 339 aircraft. Looking forward to building this one. It's a neat segment of the hobby. It's kind of just beyond flying some of the foamy aircraft, getting into something with some more structure, and I think it's a pretty cool aspect of the hobby. It's also bringing a lot of people into the hobby as well that have never flown turbine aircraft before. So, you know, aircraft like this, foamies do it as well too. The Boomerang Ranger. Boomerang also has a new aircraft coming out as well too, which I'm excited to see. Hopefully we get one here on the channel to put together and take a look at and share with you guys. So coming up soon, we're gathering parts still, but we will be putting this 339 together and of course doing a build series on this aircraft and sharing all the steps with you guys. So just some little insights for you. We'll be putting a SWE win 80 turbine in this aircraft. We've got some very nice MKS servos going in this aircraft. It'll be piloted by a Jetty radio system, Cortex gyro, so it's going to be a very nice install, nice and clean, and using the same equipment that we would typically use here at the lighter side of RC. So coming up soon, guys, this aircraft. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, list them down below. Don't forget to also check out the lighter side of RC After Dark. The After Dark channel, it's a completely separate channel. We do live streams here from the shop about every 2 weeks for about 2 hours-ish. Usually Saturday evenings is kind of when we've been doing them. And it's fun. You get to see all the behind the scenes stuff. You get to see 2 hours of what we actually do that may only end up as a 1-minute segment in a video. So it's fun. And we always have some guests here, and it's just tons of fun anyways. So check that out and subscribe to that channel if you're interested in checking it out. There's links down below. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next video.